Hello and welcome back to another episode of a Cozy Christmas podcast. My name is Art, and we are getting ever so closer to Christmas. Today we had just a little bit of snow, which was really wonderful to see. It was mostly just flurries, but always appreciated at Christmas time. Unfortunately, it's kind of turned into rain, and it's a cold, cloudy, drizzly day. And you know what? It's a perfect day to sit inside and watch some Christmas movies. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. My guest today is Katie Wilbert. She's written her first movie, and in fact, it is a Christmas movie. It's called A Vineyard Christmas. And it's available to watch on all the streaming platforms, including Amazon. Here's what it's about. It says, Heather, host of Read Between the Vines, is determined to create the perfect Christmas episode by featuring a unique winery from her hometown. The only thing standing in her way? Rudy, the attractive, stubborn owner of the winery. It stars Nikki McKenzie and Victor Zink Jr., was directed by Anna Valine, hopefully I got your name right, and written, again, by my guest today, Katie Wilbert. Now, in the interview, I mentioned I haven't seen it yet, but I have since then seen it, and it is just as wonderful as she made it sound. It was a really fun, cozy, romantic kind of Christmas film that will definitely get you in the Christmas spirit. Stay tuned for the interview because we do talk about some foods and recipes and things, and Katie did share the recipes with me. I'll try to remember to post them on my social media account. So following me, whether on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you can find out more about those goodies. Welcome back to a Cozy Christmas podcast. My guest today is Katie Wilbert. She's a writer and comedian based in the Los Angeles area. She's just written a Christmas rom-com movie called A Vineyard Christmas. It's currently available to watch, and it looks like a real fun Christmassy movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And looking forward to talking with you today, Katie. So welcome to the Cozy Christmas podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I've listened to it and it is so cozy.
All right. Well, appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, I'm excited to have you on today. We're going to talk about romantic comedy Christmas movies, which I think are some of the best Christmas movies. I enjoy those the most. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you would recommend. You haven't told me any of them beforehand, so I'll be responding. I'll be responding in what do you call those? Reaction video kind of style. So
Perfect.
You're right. Yeah, which really works good for an audio podcast, I guess.
Yeah, we'll just say how he's reacting. His eyebrows have lifted in surprise.
Well, to get started, tell us a little bit about what you do and how did you come to write this Christmas movie?
I'm a writer, but I originally came to LA mostly for acting, and along the way that kind of changed more specifically to comedy. And I got into writing by taking classes at various comedy theaters like the Groundlings and Second City. And really, it was kind of more a means to performing live comedy and kind of learning how to write sketch comedy like what you would see on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
And wanting to film my own stuff to kind of show people like, hey, this is what I can do. And then definitely along the way, I just continued to write. There was never any like teeth pulling involved with that. It was just like something I always did and did like constantly, until I think I realized like, oh, I really love this. This is kind of more what I want to do. I still enjoy acting, but if I had to choose between two, I think at this point it would be writing. And at some point along the way as well, I got really into reading romance novels, and that was especially true during 2020, pandemic era.
Mm.
And I think that was because I really sort of needed that cozy hug of like knowing how something would end.
Yeah.
And the surprise being more like what the journey was, but knowing that like at the end of it, there's something happy I can look forward to. Um, yeah, and I think
Hmm.
that's around the time that I was like, oh, I've never considered about like writing rom-coms. It was always like trying to write comedies or fantasy comedies even, kind of like what we do in the shadows type stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and that was really what kind of led me to be like, oh, why haven't I ever thought about doing romantic comedies? I grew up watching them. And even while I was like quote unquote studying comedy, like I'm in some comedy college.
Mm.
All the boys I was like doing improv with were always like, "Oh, you haven't seen Groundhog's Day or whatever." Like all these, and sure, they're like big comedies from the 80s, 90s, but like
Yeah.
there were a lot of them I didn't see because I grew up watching romantic comedies because the lead was always a female, and so they were like written for me to watch specifically.
Right.
Um, and so, but I thought this whole time, like, no, I need to be like watching what the boys watch and writing what the boys, want to watch. And it was really nice to like be in my 30s and be like, no, I want to write like the kind of movies that I want to watch, and the kind of movies I want to watch are rom-coms. So it was kind of a long journey to get there, but eventually I did. And I got connected with Real One Entertainment, who produced this movie, and I had written a rom-com for them prior to this movie that hasn't been filmed yet. But yeah,
Hmm.
I had basically the process for writing a Vineyard Christmas was I had sent a log line, which is basically like a 1 to 2 sentence elevator pitch. And just kind of been like, I have this vision of this girl who goes back home. She at the time, actually, it wasn't even a wine show. It was just like she was maybe a sommelier and she was going back. And it definitely evolved into what it is now, which is Heather Marquez, who is a TV personality for this show, Read Between the Vines, returns home to her hometown of Lake Chelan, Washington, looking for like the perfect Christmas story for her wine show. And she plans on interviewing this winery, the O'Reilly Family Vineyards, who in this world, built the town. Like they're,
Hmm.
almost family friends, and she gets there and they've moved to Florida. And in its place is this new winery with this surly, attractive German winemaker who she decides to work with to make this episode, even though they butt heads initially. And she learns all about their century-old tradition of making ice wine.
Mm.
So I basically sent the log line for that. And then they were like, great, let's move forward. Can you do the scene by scene outline in a week? Because we had this uh, big time crunch. They were pushing all their movies forward, and they're like, we want to include this one. So I did, and then I wrote the first draft of the screenplay in 3 weeks, which is insanely fast.
Mm.
And then they were filming by April of this year, and I sent that log line in October. So it was
Wow.
really, it was a really fast process. But and I think for that reason, sometimes I'm like, I can't believe it got made. Like it's streaming right now. Like it was so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really love how it came together, and the cast is amazing, and I've become friends with all of them, and it's just been a really wonderful process, and it's so fun now to get to share this movie with everyone.
That's so interesting. I don't know if I've really known a lot of the background, like from the writer side of things, how a movie gets
Yeah,
made. So you
it's
had,
interesting. Yeah.
so when they said, can you give us a scene by scene outline, was that something you had ready, or did you have to panic run to your computer and?
It was a panic run for sure. I had because normally too, at least with Real One, and this process was kind of unique. Not every company does it this way. A
Mhm.
lot of companies buy an already made script that
Mm.
they are like, okay, it's done. We see the vision. Now we'll do rewrites with you and then produce it. Um, where Real One kind of does like from conception to production. Um, but Yeah, I mean, just sending them the log line, it was like, this is just an idea that just popped in my head, but I like this concept and this job. And, I had been inspired by my friend Claire Copey, who actually basically does what Heather does in the movie, which is she is someone who studied as a sommelier, but is also an actor. And so she does these interviews for the social media company called Som TV, which are exactly what you see in the
Mhm.
movie is someone interviewing wineries and doing these pairings on TV. Um, yeah, so I just had the idea. So when they were like, "Great, like just skip the kind of two-page synopsis and go straight to the outline," I was like, "Oh my God."
Yes.
Okay, sure, I can do that. It
Right.
was really, I don't know, I guess what's great about that is now I know something new about myself, which is that I can do that, and
Hmm.
it lends itself well if ever, and hopefully I can at some point write for TV because, obviously you're writing in a quicker pace. And this felt like a very fast pace to be writing something.
Mm.
Um, but exciting. I mean, I like having a deadline. I like
Yeah.
having someone be like, is a week good? And I'm like, not really, but I'll do it.
Right.
That's kind of helpful.
Yeah, yeah. So why did you choose to set it at Christmas? Was that originally part of your idea?
Yeah, it was definitely part of the idea because I really liked this concept of ice wine. And I'd seen one other Christmas movie, I think literally called An Ice Wine Christmas. Um,
Mm.
and I had heard about it originally like in New Zealand at some point, but I'd never tried it. And I still haven't tried it.
Mm.
I and I even the lead actress, Nikki McKenzie, who's amazing. She and I held this little friends and family screening over the weekend. Um, and I bought a bottle of ice wine to try at the screening and be like, this is the time. Everyone's holding me accountable. I'm going to open this bottle and I'm going to try it. And it ended up in a fridge and I never tried it and it never came home with me. So at this point, I'm not sure if I ever will try it. I did a ton of research on the winemaking process of ice wine and its typical notes and what it might taste like or the
Hmm.
fruit that's infused with it. But I still have not tried it, which is
Mm.
crazy. Um, but anyways, your your question was how did
Yeah.
I decide to write a Christmas movie? It's because I like this idea of ice wine, which really can only be made in the wintertime
Mm.
in December, January, when there's a really cold freeze that comes in and they're made in very specific regions. Like, I think there's only one or two areas in the United States that it can be made. And then like a couple places in the world where it's made. So it felt special and unique. And you're always trying to find like I don't know, a different angle or a unique career maybe we haven't watched someone partake in.
Hmm.
And I knew they were looking for holiday movies. So I was like,
Okay.
oh, if I could throw this together, ice wine and then Christmas, I bet I can make it happen. And we did, which is crazy.
Definitely gives it a different setting than what I usually see, and so that's kind of catches your attention. But
Yeah.
here I thought ice wine was just wine with ice cubes in it. So there's a whole.
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't know about it. And I've had a couple people in my life text me and be like, what is ice wine? Is it really good? And I'm like, yeah, it probably is. Go try it.
I just wrote the movie. Don't ask me.
Yeah, which is maybe a little inauthentic, but I did my
That's all
best.
right. Well, I like to read cozy mysteries, and
Yes.
there's a lot that they write that hopefully they don't have real life experience in.
You know what? That is such a good point. That just because someone has written a story about a murder, that you're not like,
Yeah.
and you're especially good at murdering. You must be if you wrote this. Yeah, that's true. I need to remember that. I'm
Oh,
going to tell people that moving forward.
it's so funny that they'll say, "Yeah, as long as nobody checks my internet history, we'll be fine."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's funny.
But I caught a couple puns in the names of things that you were talking about in your movie that reminded me of that cozy mystery kind of
Oh, yeah.
style too. They love the puns, so
Oh, yes.
yeah, I'm there for it.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So, going forward, you said you're hoping to be working, writing more on for television. Do you have any dream projects you'd like to pursue?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's funny because I felt like this whole time I really wanted to write for TV, and then I wrote these two rom-com films, and I think now I'm not written for TV yet, but I do really like the process of writing films because um the immediate gratification, at least with these real one films, were pretty instant. That was great. Like, oh my gosh, it's already been made. And there's a bit more freedom as well because I was writing on my own and then getting producer notes.
Hmm.
But I'd love to write for TV because I like doing improv comedy and sketch comedy. It's a team sport, you know? Um, and I feel like movie making is, but a lot of times, like in these movies, maybe the actors wouldn't be allowed to improvise or whatever. And I was very like, play around. And Anna Valine, the director, had the same idea and would just like let them do takes, which I really appreciated. And maybe some writers would hate, but I loved because I think it's like, no, bring what you have to it now. Like I gave you the bones and then you add yours to it. And by the end of it, we have this like big collective thing.
Hmm.
And TV is interesting to me in that same way because you're in a writer's room with other writers, you're building stories together. Um, so yeah, I'd love to do that. My writing partner, Amy Maestri, and I have been writing together for 10 years, and she and I wrote a whoa, my brain just like turned off. She and I wrote this fantasy comedy show called Witches, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier. It's like
Yeah.
similar to what we do in the shadows. And so doing something like that, that's our own idea, and getting to have a room full of writers help us build something around that would be so cool.
Hmm.
And I have another project that is also a fantasy comedy. That's sort of like the Lord of the Rings elves, but the ones that didn't go on the adventure.
Hmm.
And they're just like waiting around and are like, I don't know, like living their mundane lives, like doing laundry and like having roommates or whatever. Um, so I, yeah, clearly a bit of a nerd. I spend a lot of my time either reading romance or fantasy novels. So getting to work on something like that would be really fun. I feel
Sure.
like my brain works in this sort of um, fantasy sci-fi place, which is true even of romance because it's like this heightened world that is not real, where we're
Hmm.
like, that wouldn't happen. Like you can't throw a Christmas festival in 7 days. You would have need to have planned that all year
Right.
long. Yeah.
Exactly.
But we're suspending a lot of belief in these movies and going like, no, it's like the magic of Christmas or
Hmm.
like the magic of love. Like anything is possible. So I think writing in any realm that's not just like, I don't know, your average workday comedy. Like I like the little extra spark of fantasy or romance.
Hmm.
Something that you're like, I know it's not real, but I love it anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because movies like this, like you were saying, happen at Christmas, you can blame any coincidence on Christmas magic, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Especially, and this is not true of my movie. There's not actually a Santa at any point,
Oh, sure.
but a lot of Christmas movies do have like that
Hmm.
baker with a beard that's always
Hmm.
like sort of winking at camera, and so you can like put any like Mr. or Mrs. Claus in a movie and have them kind of like looking
Yeah.
at camera or doing a wink wink nudge, and you're like, oh, Christmas magic is upon us. Like
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
happens, it's we can get away with pretty much anything because the Christmas magic is here.
Yeah. I love that when it happens, and you're like, wait, was that?
Me too.
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's cheesy, but I love it. So,
I mean, I love the cheese. Cheese and camp. I'm all
yep.
here for it, which is obviously why I like writing these rom-coms.
There you are. Yeah. Those projects you've got percolating in your brain, I think they sound really interesting. So
Oh, thanks.
hopefully we'll see them come to fruition here.
I hope so. And who knows, maybe if we do, we'll have some really cool, cozy Christmas episodes in those shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's change gears a little bit and talk about some romantic comedy Christmas movies that you'd recommend. Just a
Yeah.
season to snuggle down with your sweetie and watch something cozy.
'Tis the season. Okay, there's a couple that are like Hallmark kind of cheesy sweet that I like, and then a couple that are more I don't know, like PG-13 verging rated R. So
Hmm.
I'll give you a little both. There's a movie I saw on, I think it was Hallmark, called Baby It's Cold Outside, and this gal, she might be like a travel writer, I think, and she goes to this hotel in like Iceland or something where it's one of those ice hotels.
Mm.
And she stays there, and the like owner of the hotel is like having all these struggles, stuff keeps going wrong, and she like steps in and helps. Um, and I really like that movie in part because of the setting. They really are like half the time in this ice hotel.
Hmm.
And it's like visually really fun to watch. And their love story is really cute. And then the food they eat looks great. So that's a really fun one.
Yeah.
So cozy. Um, and then on the other side of the spectrum, if you're looking for something that's a bit more like you can't watch with your kids, a little naughtier, I really enjoyed The Holiday, which is on
Netflix
Netflix.
isn't, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that one a lot. And also I really like the show, the movie Happiest Season, and that was on Hulu a couple years ago with Kristen Stewart.
Hmm.
Um, and I really like those two on the other end of the spectrum. This year I saw another Christmas movie that was on Hulu, but it is actually one of these Hallmark style kind of cheesy rom-coms with Ainsley Gordon, who started off doing a lot of stuff with Real One, and then now
Hmm.
she's doing Hallmark stuff, which is cool to see. But she writes and stars in a lot of her own films. And this one also had Denise Richards in it. And
Okay.
it's basically like they run this radio show. And Denise Richards' character is going through a separation with her husband. And so, and the ratings have been really bad because she's been in this bad place. So Ainsley Gordon's character is her producer and is like, I have an idea. Why don't we like do sort of over the air dating? We'll do some interviews with people who call in and we'll try and find you a date. Um, and it's really cute. There's like two different love stories that happen, one with Ainsley's character and one with Denise Richards' character. It's very cozy. There's decorations all around, amazing outfits, really cute and safe for the family.
Yeah, I saw Happiest Season a couple years ago. I really liked that. That was
It was
hilarious.
really
And
good, right? So funny. That one sister who paints. Oh, so funny. I
I felt so
really
sorry
was
for her.
surprised by that movie. I know she was so sweet and earnest.
Right. And she has,
Yeah.
now, if I remember right, she had this story for a novel that she kept talking about, but nobody would listen to her.
Yeah. So sad. And like,
Yeah.
those people or siblings like that that just feel kind of like outshined or ignored. And you feel so
Yeah.
bad for her. She's trying so hard and no one notices.
And then I don't think I've seen the other ones. Although Holiday, I've been wanting to see.
It's good.
Had a chance to catch it yet, but
Yeah, it's naughty, but it's good. And I enjoy that obviously because I come from a comedy background. So,
sure.
I would say that most of what I write is usually not PG. So it's fun to like jump back and forth and kind of live in this cheesy, cozy world and then hop into something that's the opposite
Mm.
of that. And The Holiday is definitely the opposite of that. Within the first 5 minutes, you're very aware of like, oh, this is not Hallmark.
This is for kids. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
this is oops. Oh, no, get the kids out of here. Yeah, definitely.
Now, I just recently saw a Hallmark movie called Haul Out the Holly with Lacey Chabert.
Yeah, how was
Uh,
that? Aren't there two? Are there two of that movie?
yeah,
Or no?
the sequel's coming out this year,
Okay,
I
yeah.
think. So it was, I mean, it was Hallmark.
Yeah.
It it was okay. I really like Lacey Chabert's performance. I mean, I'll watch
Nice.
her in anything,
Yeah.
but yeah, she it's this story. She goes, her boyfriend dumps her and she has to leave their apartment. So then she goes back home and her parents were acting kind of a little weird. And so as soon as she comes home, they say, "Oh, we're leaving for Christmas. We're going to Florida. See you later." they're really super involved in the homeowners association.
Oh, yes.
So she's like, plunge. Here's all the things you need to do for us while we're gone, kind of thing. It was like it's kind of a jerky move.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But of course, the homeowner association president is the the hunky next door neighbor, and
Of course.
it's a little weird. Like I've never lived in a place with a homeowners association, but
Yeah.
if that's true to life, it's like, well, I don't know if I could live in a neighborhood like that.
Oh, I haven't either, but my parents have, and they've told me some stories where I was like, "Oh, that you should move." I don't know if that's worth it. Like, isn't the
Right.
point of having a house so you have like your privacy and your space so you can like live how you want?
Yeah.
Um, oh, I want to watch it now
Yeah.
because
It was fun. The characters, it's full of offbeat characters, which I really enjoy, and
yeah.
I thought the romance itself was pretty sweet. He's like this big kind of a I don't know, he's just kind of goofy, and I
Oh,
kind of like
that's
the goofy
nice.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he takes his job maybe a little too seriously at times,
Yeah.
but
Of course.
it's fine. I'm still trying to figure out why would her parents do this, like yeah, go ahead and come home. Here's all the things you need to do. We're leaving by, and
So crazy.
it's a little weird. There's a couple of weird things in the film that made me wonder what they were going for, but
Yeah.
overall it was a good film.
Yeah.
It got me in the Christmas spirit. So
That's good. Yeah, that's some of that Hallmark logic where you're like, oh, I don't know why this would ever happen. Or like, these parents are like kind of jerks, but we're
yeah,
just gonna go with it.
yeah, yeah, and then they like say they're going to be gone for Christmas, but then they show up on Christmas Day and like, we missed you. It's like, oh
So
sure,
funny.
now all the work is done. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how wild. Yeah, now I'm definitely gonna watch it. This sounds
yeah,
really funny.
yeah. It was good. It's one of those films you can put on, you can laugh, eat some popcorn. It's great fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Well, I've got some of those movies I think I've got to track down and watch,
Yeah.
see how they hold up here.
Yeah.
But I like to get to know more about you and how you celebrate Christmas and things.
Yeah.
So I guess to start off, are you pro or against eggnog?
Oh, I'm pro eggnog.
Perfect.
I do really enjoy non-dairy eggnog
Mm.
now. Like I've had a really good oat milk eggnog,
Mm-hmm.
I think from like Trader Joe's or something. So I'm a big fan, but I can't just like sit and have like many glasses of it. I
Right.
can like sit and sip one, for a bit, but I am pro eggnog. What about you?
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That seems to sometimes be the real controversial question here.
Room
I know,
divider.
I know some like, oh, eggnog, it's so gross, it's thick and nasty. Like I know it's
I kinda
perfect,
like it, like we're sipping a custard,
right?
which maybe sounds gross, but I'm, like, into it, I don't know.
This is like melted ice cream, but good. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, that's exactly it. I mean, it pretty much is actually because ice cream is custard and it's made with a
Mm.
little bit of egg, and that's, like,
Oh
what
yeah,
eggnog is, I think, like,
I think so.
maybe? Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. Well, I had somebody on a couple weeks ago who works for a company that makes my favorite eggnog, and we
Oh,
never we
that's
never
cool.
talked about the ingredients other than Christmas magic. So
Well, that is definitely a part of it. Yeah.
I have to, get just a small amount and then slowly savor it. If I get too much, stomach starts hurting,
Mhm.
and you're like, what did I do?
Oh, yeah. It's so rich. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, how about like Christmas traditions? What are some of those that you look forward to every year or do with your family?
Yeah, so my family on my dad's side is German. And a big tradition on that side of the family is making German shortbread cookies called Spritzgebäck.
Hmm.
And they're basically like a vanilla walnut kind of cookie. And you um, use a meat grinder or cookie press to push them through this press, and they come out in little swizzles. And they're not super sweet, but they're perfect with coffee in the morning.
Mm.
So one of us will make huge batches and mail to the others. Obviously, my Oma used to make it, but she's not with us anymore. So we carry on that tradition. Um, and I actually feature this cookie in my movie, A Vineyard
Mm.
Christmas, because the movie, even though it's like about ice wine and romance, it's also a lot about different people's, cultural traditions. Because I don't know, at least for me, maybe growing up with grandparents who are from another country, um, it felt like so much of our Christmas traditions were just like German traditions.
Hmm.
And I think that's true for a lot of people, is like, Nikki in my movie, when she was cast, she's Filipino. And so I rewrote her character to reflect that background. And then we included her own personal traditions in the movie. And so I don't know. I feel like every time I talk to someone during Christmas, I'm learning some new thing about their heritage or culture. And so I really liked that. I wanted to put that in the movie. That's me really casually just putting my movie into this conversation.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
But it is true that those cookies are like a huge part of my Christmas time.
They sound good. Might have to ask you for a recipe.
Yeah, I'm happy to send it. I also made a little how-to video on my
Oh,
Instagram,
okay.
because I had a lot of friends asking me like, "How do you make these? They're so good." Yeah, they're highly recommend. It's just time consuming to like
Mm.
press all the cookies through the grinder, but worth it. Definitely worth it. Do you like to bake?
Off and on, I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like to bake more like cookies and desserts and things. And
yeah.
one of the joys of this podcast, I get to talk to people like you and who have, I've got this great recipe, and then I say, oh, let me try it,
Well,
and
that's nice. Yeah.
get to try out some new things. And there was one that's been a big hit in our family. It was a couple years ago now, but the lady had a recipe for turtle fudge brownies with like extra
Turtle fudge
caramel.
brown.
Oh,
Oh, my mom makes
really
those every
good.
year too. They're so good.
Oh yeah, it's very good, very
Oh
rich,
man,
but
so
oh,
rich.
they're a big family favorite now. So
Yum. Yeah, big fan of turtle fudge brownies. A plus.
it's been kind of a fun hobby. My doctor is saying maybe I need to find a new hobby, but
Sure,
you
sure.
know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
You live once, right? Yeah.
maybe walking.
Maybe walking.
That's a good hobby.
Oh, that's funny. Walking after you bake
There
cookies.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just the other day made some gingerbread cookies, but I think they're
Nice.
more like ginger snaps, I guess. But it was
Okay.
a really different kind of recipe. It used ginger, but it didn't have like molasses or anything in it.
Oh, interesting.
It used maple syrup instead. And so I thought I'd try it out. And they were good. They weren't like the gingerbread cookies like I really like. So I have to
Yeah.
make those, but they weren't too bad. And the cookies disappeared without any complaints. So
Well, that's good. That is a sign they turned out okay.
yeah, now I'll be getting hungry here.
As we're talking about cookies for ages. Yeah.
My wife will make a bunch of different kinds, but she waits till we get closer to Christmas. Otherwise, it gets to be problematic. So,
Yeah. If all December is just tons of
cookie feed.
cookies
Yeah.
being made. Yeah. Yeah. It's too much. I get it. That's smart.
I'm kind of like the opening band for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a really good cinnamon, 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 cinnamon roll,
Mm,
whatever you want to call it, sticky bun recipe that I got from a family friend, and now my husband and I make it every Christmas Eve, and then you basically pre-make it and
hmm.
then leave it in the fridge, and then you put it in the oven the next day, and they're the best sticky buns I've ever had. And anyone who's tried them has been like A plus. So that is something I will send you
Hmm.
to. Not to
Yes.
add to your
Yes.
December baking list,
No,
but
no, no.
they're pretty outstanding. And that is a new tradition that my husband and I started because,
Yeah.
you have your family traditions
Hmm.
from like your nuclear family. And then once I got married, we're like, what's our tradition? Because we want to make some of our own.
Hmm.
So now the sticky buns have made their way in.
Great. Yeah, I love those. And what you said about the other cookies, you said a couple things actually that they're good with coffee in the morning. So
Mhm.
I love that they're good with coffee and that you're eating cookies in the morning. I mean,
Only in December, I promise.
okay.
Uh, because otherwise that is not sustainable.
Right. Oh, I hear you.
I mean, there was one time I baked biscotti, and that is like breakfast cookie.
Hmm.
I mean, it actually means twice baked, but in my head, biscotti translates to breakfast cookie. So, I don't know. Sometimes, maybe not just in December, mostly in
Well,
December, you can have
yeah. Well,
cookies with
there's, let's see,
coffee.
there's Christmas in July.
Yeah, see? So you can make biscotti then,
Hmm.
and or these Christmas Spritz Quebec if you're so determined. Both biscotti and Spritz Quebec take honestly equal amounts of time. So
Excellent.
choose your poison.
Right, right. Well, yeah, we started when my wife and I got married, although this was like 20 plus years ago. We had that same kind of conversation. Well, we've got traditions from both of our families. We should probably start some of our own too. And
Yeah.
it's kind of odd to, say that this is now a tradition, but
Yeah.
it kind of worked that way. Most Christmases, I'll make French toast for Christmas breakfast
Oh, nice.
because we don't get enough sugar and junk food on
Yeah,
Christmas.
no.
Yeah. I'll sometimes make it with eggnog, which is really good.
Oh, yum.
Part of the fun is Christmas morning having the griddle out and like flinging French toast across the room to my kids, and
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Dad's throwing food. We're not supposed to do that.
That is really fun, actually.
Although they're getting older now, but yeah, we're still gonna be able to be together for Christmas, and
That's nice.
we've got fun planned for them and all that. So yeah.
That's great.
Well, do you have any more traditions or even like Christmas memories that mean a lot to you?
Well, I will say another thing my family and I did, probably starting when I was like 20 in college, is we started doing this pizza bake-off on
Mm.
Christmas Eves. And we would do like everyone makes their own pizza, and it's like a competition because everything in my family is a competition.
Hmm.
That's just a lifelong tradition. Um, and so we'll do these pizza bake-offs, and like my sister will make the spicy pizza and I'll make the dessert pizza and stuff. So that happens when we're all together. When we're not all together, there's not a pizza bake-off, obviously. But that's a big one that started happening over the last 10 years. Prior to that, we did White Elephant on Christmas
Hmm.
Eve, which is always really fun. And then I just have a lot of memories of, because I grew up in Sacramento, and it's about an hour and a half drive from South Lake Tahoe. Um, so my parents and I would drive up, and we'd like right once you get past like Placerville area, and the snow is like starting to appear, we'd just like pull off the side, and they would have those long rectangular plastic sleds, and they'd tie a rope on the back of them, and they'd like drag us around if there wasn't a hill, or sometimes if they found like kind of like a backwoods drive, they would attach it to our truck, and then they'd like drive really slow with the sleds dragging in the back. And that was the best thing on earth to me as a kid, was being in this sled and being kind of like, it sounds bad, like dragged by this truck, but you're like hanging on, and it was really fun. And I'd be shouting like, go faster. And they're like, well, we can't really, but like,
Yeah.
okay. Um, but that was
Yeah.
really fun, and I felt really lucky that I had access to snow, but that also we could like leave it at the same
Hmm.
time. So we could like go drop in, be like, this is so fun. Now I'm really cold, and we're gonna go back down to Sacramento because you're at sea level there. So
Yeah.
we really didn't get snow in Sacramento. But that was nice having access to that, though. As a kid, I was like, I want to live where there's snow. I want snow days. Now, as an adult, I get why people are like, yeah, that's fun for a bit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love snow myself, and
Yeah.
I, can remember as a kid waking up and, oh, it snowed, this is great. We got to
Yeah.
turn on the radio and see if school's canceled, that kind of
Oh,
thing. And yeah.
there are so many movies about that. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like, you don't have to go to school because there's too much snow and all you get to do is go play in the snow. Sounds like a
Yeah,
dream, like a Christmas miracle or something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays, our school will just send out a text message at like 6 in the morning. Like, nope, no school today, and
Wow.
so it's kind of, you kind of lose that anticipation of
Yeah,
listening
like
for the
waiting
radio.
around, tuning in. I mean, it sounds like what I thought it was like, which sounds magical.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. Yeah, at least that's my memory of it is. So
Yeah, yeah. As a kid, everything's kind of magical, so you never
right.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you get a little older, the snow does tend to start to lose its appeal, just because
Sure. The effort of it all.
shovel that now.
Mm-hmm.
My kids, hey kid, go out there and shovel for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have the hot cocoa ready for you when you get in.
Yeah, there you go.
Still don't, I don't mind it so much. It's getting to the point where we live. It will snow more heavily in January and February than in December, and by then all right, I'm ready for spring. Can we just move that
Yeah.
up?
True. Yeah.
But it's always welcome. Always puts me in a Christmassy mood, no matter when it is. So,
Yeah. That's nice.
how about Christmas music? Do you have any favorites you just have to listen to?
Yes. I am a big fan of the Dolly Parton Kenny Rogers album, called, I think it's Once Upon a Christmas. It's, I don't know, like, my sister, my mom, and I, we have the CDs, we have the vinyl album of
Mm,
it. It's like, I don't know, our holiday anthem is this whole album. Um, it's it's exceptional. I mean, what can I say? It's Dolly Parton, you
hmm.
know? I don't really have to sell you on this. It's
No.
it's great.
Yeah.
But that one, especially when I hear it, it's like sort of a movie where it's like instant reels of flashbacks of childhood and,
Right.
putting ornaments on the tree, and like every song I have like a specific memory attached to, like, I don't know, sitting wrapping presents, and I don't know, it's really a a, a time portal for me
Hmm.
more than anything. So that would be my Christmas music, is that album specifically.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. It was funny for me. Songs like the Chipmunk Christmas song
Oh,
just
yeah.
instantly would transport me to childhood. But then a couple years ago, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to listen to this song anymore.
Yeah, but as an adult, really kind
Yeah,
of hits different. You're like, oh, I can't yeah.
this
Once
is
is
kind of
good.
annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so funny. Oh,
yeah,
you know
but
what else I love is A
uh-huh.
Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah.
I know that's a movie, but the music from it is
Mm-hmm.
timeless. That opening sequence song, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Muppet Christmas Carol is
Yeah,
honestly one of the best Christmas movies of all time.
absolutely. No argument here. That's in my top three or four for sure.
It's so good. He's so good in that. Michael Caine.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
like top tier acting in a Muppet movie. They didn't even deserve him, but they lived up to it. It was great. Anyways.
I'm a big fan of A Christmas Carol. I mean, if you listen to some of my
Classic.
episodes, I always somehow manage to bring conversations back to it. And
Yeah, I get it.
yeah, and that adaptation, in spite of the Muppets, or maybe even because of them, I don't know, it just
I
works. It
know.
really
It's
works.
both, really. Yeah, it's magic. Christmas magic, yeah.
In fact, I'm due for a rewatch here pretty soon. So,
Uh-oh. Enjoy.
yep. My daughter was telling me this morning. She said, "Dad, we need to watch some more Christmas movies." And because we haven't had time to watch too many of them this year, and
Yeah.
and I said, well, being that you have to go to school in about half an hour, it's probably
Yeah.
not going to happen right now.
Yeah, not now. Not enough time.
Well, all right. Well, we've covered a lot of the basics here.
We did.
We've got you got excellent taste in movies and music.
Thank you so much. So do you. And eggnog.
Yep, yep. So definitely, I feel like we've got a kindred spirit here.
Yes. Yeah. Big Christmas fan.
What are you looking forward to this year for Christmas? Do you have any plans?
Yeah, so this year I'm spending Christmas with my husband's family,
Hmm.
who are amazing. I feel really lucky. I know not everyone gets along with like they're married into family. So I really lucked out because they're so great.
Hmm.
So we'll be in Dallas. And my husband's family owns this ranch property, like an hour and a half outside of Dallas. So we'll go there for New Year's and kind of have a cousin's Christmas, which is really fun. Um, and yeah, it's nice to, because I'm in LA right now. It's really nice to get out of LA.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of things about LA I really enjoy, and then some not as much. And it feels really healthy to leave. So I'm excited to be in Dallas. It's really beautiful there, driving through the neighborhoods. The lights are kind of extraordinary. And then, yeah, getting to have part of Christmas be at a ranch where you're just like driving around in a truck looking at like deer and cows and
Hmm.
stuff is really nice. It's a good reprieve from a big congested city. So I'm really looking forward to it.
City can have its perks, I guess, but
Hmm.
every once in a while it's good to get out and breathe fresh air.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's nice. In my neighborhood, I can walk to a ton of restaurants and bars and cafes, and the walkability of that is so great.
Hmm.
Um, but then also with that comes like crazy people walking around too. And you're like confronted by so much. You're like, I just want to go buy bread from the grocery store. It's so much. So yeah, I'm excited to have for just a week be like, oh, look, a cow and like nothing else around. And that, that sounds really nice. So I'm very excited.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we live in a rural town, and so when we want to go even to like to a bookstore or something, we have to drive
Yeah.
40 minutes to Council Bluffs or to Omaha, and
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
oh
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, that's the pros and cons of
yeah,
certain things, right?
yeah, and then we were at Walmart the other day. We have one that's closer to us that it's it's a smaller bunch of smaller towns, so it's never really packed. But we went to one in Council Bluffs, which is right next to Omaha, Nebraska. It's kind of a couple of big cities, and the place was just slammed. There were people
Oh,
everywhere, and
I
we're
bet.
like, "Is this what it's like to live in a big city? I don't like it." you know?
I mean, it is really, especially in December. If I go anywhere right now, there's so much traffic. There's always traffic in LA, but especially in December, and the stores are nuts. So
Hmm.
you got a little taste of it. That is what it is like most of the time, but especially in December.
Well, but I really like Omaha though. There's actually a little store there that's like a British bakery, and it's actually owned by someone from Britain.
Oh, cute.
So I'll sometimes I'll go there and try some of their food or pastries or
Yeah,
whatever, and it's just a really nice little place. So you
that's
can find
nice.
little touches of coziness even in a big city.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cozy. Do you watch Great British Bake Show?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, the coziest. Yeah, you can just throw it on in the background, really. Yeah.
yeah. The first time we watched it, just the the opening credits, we're like drooling, like oh.
Oh my gosh, like oozing with charm, and the food is so beautiful. Yeah.
Whenever my wife or I will try a new recipe, we'll always kind of make fun of the judges, trying it out
Yeah.
like
Yes, yes, yeah. It's
yeah,
stodgy,
yes.
underbaked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Katie, tell us where we can find your movie and anything else you want to plug.
Yeah. Thank you. So A Vineyard Christmas is out now. You can stream it. It is on Paramount Plus, Peacock, Prime Video, Pluto TV, Freevee, Zumo Play, and Plex TV. And that's all in the States. And then it actually just yesterday premiered in the UK on BBC Channel 5. But in the UK, it's called Mistletoe and Wine. And it airs in France on December 17th. I believe also as Mistletoe and Wine, but in French, which I do not know. So
Yeah, same.
my guess is probably a French person is not currently listening to this right now. But if you are, I apologize for not learning how to say my movie title in your native tongue. But it is coming out on some French channel. Should really learn more information about that, but it's airing different places around the world, which is very exciting. And then, yeah, if you forget any of that, you can just type into Google Vineyard Christmas and you'll find it somewhere, I believe.
If you can't find it, you're not trying. I mean,
Yes, and you're not trying very hard. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. If you've got an Apple TV, you just use the talk to text or whatever. A Vineyard Christmas. Though mine always hears what I say differently. So maybe that's not very reliable.
Now playing a Winos Christmas. No.
Yeah, exactly. Always. Or someone starts talking while I'm doing it. Yeah.
I will do that if one of my kids are talking to Alexa or something. I'll start talking over them. It's like, Dad, stop it.
So funny. Oh,
every time. Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Katie, thanks for coming on and sharing with us your journey and all about Christmas. You're welcome back anytime. You've got another project coming out. I'd love to have you back.
Oh, thanks. This was so fun and so cozy.
All right. You heard it here. We're officially cozy, folks.
It's officially cozy. Yeah.
Well, you and your family have a Merry Christmas this year.
Thank you. You too, Art.
Thank you so much for listening to the Cozy Christmas podcast. If you would like to help support the show, the best thing that you can do is to share it on your social media account, share it with a friend, leave us a rating and a review, because that really does help get the word out. I could not do this without you guys, and I appreciate it all so much. If you would like to help us out in a financial way, there are several options for you listed in the show notes. You can make a donation on Ko-fi.com. And if you send me your address, I will send out a Christmas card with a bookmark or sticker as my way of saying thank you. There's also some t-shirts, podcast merchandise, hand-painted ornaments I've done over this past year. And a special thank you to Karen and Angela. Your support, not just your financial support, but your encouragement, your positivity, your absolute joy over what I do here really helps keep the podcast moving, and it keeps me inspired to keep doing what I'm doing. So thank you, and others who have given so generously this past year, thank you. And until next time, let's remember to honor Christmas in our hearts and try to keep it all the year. Have a very Merry Christmas.